Give it. Yeah, yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fresh and Fun Cooking for Mental Wellness. I'm Lisa Braxton, the president of the Greater Boston section of the National Council of Negro Women. And here with me is Dina Cote. We're in Dina's kitchen, actually, and she is a grad student at the Friedman School of Nutrition, Science, and Policy at Tufts University. She is specializing in nutrition and food security policy and programming. We are so pleased to be part of this event tonight because this event aligns with our mission to lead, advocate for, and empower women of African descent, their families, and their communities. So to give you a preview of what GBS NCNW has coming up in store the next couple of months, we in March are having a stamp unveiling and presentation on Edmonia Lewis. She was the first African American and Native American to achieve international fame as a sculptor. You may know already that a U.S. postal stamp has been issued in her honor. April 19th, we're doing a blood drive with the American Red Cross, and the co-sponsor was the Greater Boston National Panhellenic Council. We are hosting, it's called Sickle Cell Fighters Blood Drive, April 19th from 11 to 4 in Boston at the Residence Inn by Marriott, downtown in the South End. Hopefully you will follow us on our social media and our website. Our website address is gbsncnw.org, where you'll find more information about the events I've just mentioned, Instagram and Facebook. So back to tonight. We are partnering with Tufts Clinical and Translational Science Institute to build the collaboration for research, equity, sustainability, and trust, also known as CREST. CREST works with Black and Brown communities in the greater Boston area to improve health. As part of what CREST does, we have partnered with the Friedman School to bring you this series. So with that said, let's talk about what Dina is about to do this evening. And I'm very impressed with it because she's about to make a 3-course family meal that is under $10, that takes less than 1 hour, and can reduce your stress and also help you to sleep better. So I am just going to move back and let Dina take the stage here and let her give it a whirl and do this whole thing that's going to actually help us improve our stress, to deal with our stress and help us relax more and be inexpensive.
Thank you, Lisa. We're bringing some cooking energy, but I don't know where that will take us. I think thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks to Lisa for coming all the way to my kitchen. We will start with the lentil soup. I think we all have the ingredients, so let's not waste more time and start with chopping some onions, and we can engage in a conversation online. I am grateful to Jana and Sarah, my friends and colleagues who will be moderating our chat online. So we chop onions. Let me put this here. As you can tell, I'm not a professional chef, but I enjoy cooking. It's very mentally relaxing when you realize that you're just doing it for yourself and for your mental peace, knowing that you will end up with a very healthy meal at the end of the day. So chopping onions does not need to come out perfect, good enough to just add to your soup pot. By the way, I'm making a soup that could serve almost 8 to 10 people. I just added the onions, and now I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil and create my base. So typically, what I've just done is the base for any meal I cook. Saute the onions, a little bit of olive oil, and then let it heat up until the onions are golden brown. Meanwhile, we can start chopping the cabbage for our second meal, the sauteed cabbage. I will be spicing the onions in a few minutes, but There's so much to say about cabbage and lentil soup in terms of the nutrition value, but also my personal relationship with them. So here's a story. As a child, I did not like cabbage and I did not like lentil soup because I think of the way they were presented to me. They were always presented to me on days when my mother didn't feel like cooking. And so there was this negative energy associating these very delicious vegetables. And then as I grew up, I realized that I can cook them differently and I can spice them in ways that would be tasteful. So I just chopped the cabbage and I put it in a saucepan and again, some olive oil on top. This should take no more than 5 minutes or maybe 7 minutes to saute. I don't know if the camera can see that. Meanwhile, I'm starting to see the onions getting ready for my lentils. I'll be putting some salt, some pepper, a little bit of cumin, and I like to mix the lentils, so we're going to put a cup of lentils and add it as well to be part of the base before we add the water. All going to toast very nicely, and so when we add the water, it shouldn't take more than 25 minutes to cook because it's already getting the heat and absorbing the onion flavor in it. It's starting to smell really nice. I don't know about you, Lisa. Can you smell it a little bit?
I can smell the spices. It's smelling very aromatic.
We can add also, so this is like peeled plum tomatoes that I found at the supermarket today for $1.99, and I thought they're all fresh tomatoes, so much better and easier to work with instead of buying the real thing, which was way more expensive, and I wanted to keep up with my promise, keep it all less than $10. So I'm gonna get 2 tomatoes out of that box and chop them. And then add them to the lentil soup. And then it's time to add some water. Maybe I'll use the kettle. So much easier to use my kettle. So I just filled the kettle and poured it in the pot, and that's our onion soup getting ready. And I'll just keep it on medium heat. And start paying attention to the sauteed cauliflower cabbage.
Now, how long do you need to cook the cabbage? How long do you need to cook the cabbage?
Until it softens a little bit, so that it's moisturized with the olive oil. And then what I do is I'll add a little bit of the za'atar on it. not too much.
Oh, tell me that again. Za'atar, I didn't pick up that spice
That's
name.
a Middle Eastern spice. It's close to oregano,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and it's got a lot of good stuff in it, salt and pepper. So if you add za'atar, you typically don't need to add much salt and pepper. And I'm going to use that today. I'm going to add a little bit of dried mint to the cabbage. Going to give it a flavor. And it doesn't have to burn or anything. It just needs to get a little bit softer. And again, there's a lot of good flavors coming out from that method of cooking, which is not high heat because olive oil doesn't require much high heat, but enough to soften the vegetable. So it retains its nutritional value and you can enjoy eating it.
Now, I don't see you using measuring spoons. So
I don't.
you're measuring by feel.
Yes.
So how does that work? Is that a practice skill?
No, not really. It's just like there's always something you can do to fix whatever goes wrong. So if
Okay.
it's too salty, you add more water, and if it's less salty, then you add more salt, and you just go with the flow. That's part of the whole taking the stress away from cooking for me.
Okay.
Like I don't really stress it out. And right now I'm feeling like I should add some of that nice parsley that I have been soaking in water. I'm gonna take it and just sprinkle it. I mean, it's adding color. It's like you're creating a painting somehow.
And I can smell that parsley. Now that you've chopped it, it's really, really filling the room in a nice way.
Isn't it? Yeah, and the cabbage itself is, they can be, for me, they can taste very harsh when you're eating them raw in a salad, and so I always like them softer. And when you add all that flavor to them, they just come out very nice. Now we can start paying attention to the soup, making sure it's fine. Now, if you want to thicken the soup, it's good to add a potato. You can chop a potato and add it to the soup or a zucchini. But for now, I'm only adding the tomatoes and the onions, and it will be thick enough. Now, while all this is cooking, I know I also promised everybody a dessert, and I don't know if you've managed to find the phyllo pastry.
Phyllo pastry. Now that's different from puff pastry, right?
It is different from puff pastry. This is the. I wanted to show you. It is different. It's they use it in Greek. They use it in Turkey. You can use it for the spinach pies that you could eat in a Greek restaurant. There are a number of fine recipes on this box. You can even use it as a pizza sheet if you wanted. But I find them very, like, they don't make me feel guilty about eating when I want to indulge.
Yeah, right.
So
can we call this Mediterranean cooking?
I would say so,
okay.
Yes. It's a very relaxed style of cooking. You know, it's all about flavors here and there. And then you just toss it around. I'll say I'll give the cabbage 5 more minutes and then call it. I don't know if any one of you has any questions. So the thing about phyllo is, as you're taking it out of its paper, wrapping paper, you do not want to keep it out too long because it will dry. And so if it dries, that becomes a problem. It's not the kind of problem you cannot fix, but you can always fix a dry sheet of phyllo with a little bit of moisture, like from milk or. And what I did is I just put some olive oil on the base so that the phyllo doesn't stick, and I roll it out. So it's no more than a spoon, but I just like make sure it goes all the way up and down. And then I would take 2 sheets literally 2 sheets. I know when you buy baklava from outside, they will have used like 10 sheets, but I only used 2 or 3 in the base at most, and then I would use 4 on the top. This way it can work for me on multiple times, and also I don't feel guilty about eating too much. I think the cabbage is actually done. So I'm going to turn this off now. And I'm going to split the phyllo into 3 parts. So one part is going to have dates on it. So I'll just put the dates. And the other part, the other section is going to have some peanuts. And we're going to have something to try that tastes different in the same pot. So this is how it looks like, all spread out.
So you're actually making baklava right now.
I am.
I've never seen it made before.
Isn't that cute?
This is special. It
Thank
really
you.
is.
Yes, and then we'll just cover it with 3 more sheets, and then cut it gently. So you don't have to go all through, but if you got the upper part, then you're able to extract squares out of it when it's baked. That's it. I'm cutting it into squares just from the top layer. So it's easier to crack out.
It looks so complicated with those thin layers of crust.
But it's not that complicated as I'm doing it now, no?
No, it's not.
I'm just going to thicken it a little bit, maybe. Yeah, so in total, I actually put 7 sheets. And as you will see, I'll be able to roll the rest and freeze it for the next time. So you can use it maybe 4 or 5 times. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of milk on the top so it doesn't dry out. And that's about it. And I'll place it in the oven. So this is how I would serve the cabbage. Now that it's sauteed, I'll put it outside. Here. Smells really nice actually with the mint and the parsley.
It looks very nice too.
And you can, it's optional, but I do like to sprinkle a little bit of feta cheese on top if you want. Or you can eat it just like that and add anything to it. Like butternut squash, or use it as a base for a salad or on its own with rice or chicken. I would sprinkle a little bit of feta cheese. And one thing about feta cheese, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she was wondering why it's so salty and whether we soak it in water. And yes, I do soak it in water all the time. Every 3 days, I will refresh the water, so the old salt would go out and the new salt would come in.
Okay, so that you soak it in water to get some of the salt out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one way of eating it also, you can chop a little bit of scallion. So yeah, you can do that too. So that's one dish.
So that's the first course?
That's the first course.
Okay. 1 down, 2 to go.
Yes. I'm going to take this out of the way and place it in its box and freeze it. And if you have any questions, I know I also promised some pita chips would be nice. So what I do with the pita bread that I bought from the supermarket, you typically would buy it in a bag like this. This is like 8 servings per container. So I only took one of those 4 rounded pita breads. I split it and I chopped it into little squares and I put it in the oven at 250 degrees or 300 degrees, depending on the warmth of your oven, for 10 minutes. And it comes out like the pita chips, but without all the additives that you would get in the supermarket.
And let me just say that Dina had me try the chips earlier, and they're delicious. They are delicious.
But I'm also going to make you a tahini dip. So, which would be nice as also either a salad dressing.
Dina, sorry to interrupt. We have a few questions about what you're doing. So maybe I can read them from the chat and you can answer. So one of the questions is, what kind of peanuts did you use? Roasted or salty?
I used roasted peanuts, but because you can use any type of peanuts. I like roasted. I ground them in my blender, my tiny little blender. And what happens is after it comes out from the oven, we're going to pour some maple syrup on top. What you buy in the store is usually made up of sugar and water, a lot of artificial sugar. What I'm going to be using is natural maple syrup to pour it on the top. So it's going to be very, very delicious, but also it won't make you feel very guilty about it.
Great. Another question is, what's the oven temperature up at right now?
The oven temperature is at 300 and 350 right now.
Okay. And then finally, someone was wondering if you soak the feta in water or salted water.
No, it's already got so much salt that you want to add fresh water to it. When you buy feta cheese in block, it comes in water. But what happens is if you leave it in the fridge for 5 days, the water will be going, it's not going to be fresh water. So you can throw away the water and add new water to the feta cheese, which is what I did here.
Thank you.
So this is how I put my feta cheese in the water. And I was gonna make Lisa a very nice dip right now.
Tahini dip, right?
Yes, I was gonna start working on the tahini dip.
With my pita.
Yes. So I'm gonna add some olive oil to it. We're gonna get some cumin, which you add a flavor.
Yeah, I got a whiff for that. It's pretty strong.
Yeah. And some lemon. So lemon is important too. In Mediterranean cooking, we use a lot of lemon. And if it's too thick, we just add some water. So I like my kettle very much. It's always good to use a kettle as a water container in the kitchen. At least I do that.
I use mine to water plants.
It's very handy, and in a small kitchen, I can't afford to have too much stuff. So yes, I'm gonna do that.
Now you've been talking about Mediterranean cooking. So your background, you're from Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that Egyptian cooking? Is that also part of the Mediterranean cooking, or are there different kinds of cuisines, very specifically different in the different countries in the Middle East?
I think we have a lot in common across the Mediterranean, and partly it's because of what we grow and
Right.
The temperature. We share the same climate. Our soil tends to be the same. So we were olive oil. It's pretty straightforward, I have to say. And in Egypt, over the years, we've had like Italian communities, Armenian communities, Greek communities, and many different communities have come in the country. And I think there was this melting pot of recipe, so and the aluminum fire.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Is it just me? Like static? Maybe it's just me.
No, no, I
Um,
had it too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go back to
yeah, we can't we can't hear you at all. It's really
getting better now, or is it still bad?
no, it's bad.
Okay, and we should just do some cooking for a little bit and then start back once it gets better. Is it getting better?
No. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on. That's really weird. It's just weird. The sound.
We didn't do anything on this end, so we didn't imagine what's doing it.
Yeah, someone suggested logging off and back on because yeah, it's just a little weird. Yeah, I would, yeah, I think, yeah, at this point, just to,
I'll let you do that.
Okay, well, you should be free. So, but if I leave, will you write a note telling everybody we're gonna leave and come back? Well, my laptop, my Zoom is controlling this radar.
Are we here?
perfect, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to what we were talking about you're from Egypt, and I was asking you if Mediterranean cooking is a general term for the entire Middle Eastern region, or is there Egyptian cooking and from the other Middle Eastern countries? Is it different and very distinct, or does the Mediterranean cover all of it?
Well, it's a region, and it shares a lot, and we have a lot of like recipes that we claim as ours in Egypt. When you go to Turkey, it's the same recipe. In Greek, it's the same recipe. So I think our closeness to nature, in many ways, with the perfect weather that we have in the Mediterranean, we're very blessed. Offers a lot to mix and blend into recipes. So I think what would characterize Egyptian cooking is we tend to use less fat in our cooking. So there's not much fat. There is more reliance on the conventional way of setting up a meal: rice, vegetables, and there's a lot of grains that we use. We love pita bread. We use a lot of spices that would bring actually some Egyptian dishes very close to Ethiopian cuisine.
Okay.
We use a lot of tomato sauce as a base. I think there's a lot that we share universally as different cultures. It's a question of how we mix things together. So what did you make of the tahini paste?
I thought it was very good. I was expecting it to taste like that pita stuff I get in the supermarket, the Middle Eastern spread, but it's very different.
Okay.
And it's thinner, and it just has a very distinctive taste that's different than what I was expecting.
Well, I just added some tahini paste, and which is basically roasted sesame seeds, a little bit of olive oil, some water to soften it, thin it a little bit, some za'atar and black pepper.
Za'atar, yes, okay.
And that's what I did.
I've seen this in the supermarket before, this sesame tahini.
Yes. Right? It is actually becoming more popular with a lot of dietitians I've noticed, and also these influencers on the web. They use a lot of tahini sauce and also these very modern salad bars. They're using a lot of tahini because it doesn't have the chickpea element, and a lot of people are developing some sensitivity to chickpeas which is basically the hummus. Hummus is all about
Hummus,
chickpeas.
that's what
Yes.
I use with pita.
Right. No, people, as a child, I used to confuse tahini and
And
hummus.
Okay,
And then I realized the chickpea component makes hummus. Tahini is more about sesame seeds. So if
Okay.
you're allergic to sesame, you don't want to eat
Right.
tahini. But then my other one was going to be the feta cheese. Now it's time to, I know I've talked about sweet potato fries. And as we were starting the recording, I put the sweet potato fries in the oven. And
and they're my biggest weakness.
so here we are. I think maybe they need a little bit more time.
Oh, okay.
But guess what? It looks like the baklava is getting close. So I can move on to the feta cheese spread that I also promised I would make for Lisa with the pita chips. So I cut a chunk of feta cheese. I'm gonna cube it. And I'm gonna add it here. Some of that nice fresh parsley to go with it. A little bit of olive oil. And some of that za'atar again. And you know what? Just treat it like the whole flavor, I think, can take away a lot of your stress after a long work day. You're too lazy to cook anything. So you just come home.
Lazy or tired?
Well, I can be both. I can be lazy and I can be tired. But my favorite thing to go to would be my feta cheese sandwich on a pita bread and maybe a slice of tomato to go with it. It's such a big tomato that it can actually serve 10 people.
That is a huge tomato. It certainly is.
Yeah. So I don't do much. And again, a little bit of lemon juice. And you got your feta cheese there. So I want you to try this.
Now that goes with the pita, or
Of course,
okay.
that goes with the pita.
I'll have to come back over on this side. In that
Come
case.
over and taste.
Do a taste test.
Thank you.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't eat before coming over here.
One of the recipes that we also talked about was the chocolate peanut butter. And I know that many of you may have bought the chocolate and the peanut butter. So the recipe is pretty straightforward. It's half a cup of chocolate, half a cup of peanut butter. You either microwave it for 30 seconds or you can heat it in a pan until it melts and blends. And then you pour it into an ice cube and it'll come out like this. So that would be your nice little chocolate dessert.
Oh, that's very clever. Using an ice cube tray for the dessert.
Right.
Right.
And so I just mixed half a cup of chocolate, half a cup of peanut butter, and I poured it in this ice cube tray 2 hours before we started because it was going to take 2 hours to freeze. That's why I did it earlier, but you can do it now. You can also do olive oil. So I've seen that olive oil cube. You can pour the olive oil and put the parsley. So every time you cook, you just get one of the cubes.
Okay. That makes it.
Yeah, it
easier.
makes it so much easier.
So what kind of peanut butter for this?
So
Is it Jif? Or no?
yeah, that's the one I used.
Oh, Skippy.
Skippy. It was, I
Mhm.
think, $2 from the grocery store.
It's not any organic peanut butter. You just use.
No,
Commercial peanut butter.
yeah, commercial peanut butter. So did you try the feta cheese?
I tried it, but I have to say that I would love eating it by itself without even using the pita. Just eating it like a salad. And I don't know if everyone can see this. This looks really, really good. It's delicious.
And did you try the cabbage, by the way?
No, I didn't try the
I
cabbage.
should give you a fork.
Actually, that might not be, let's
Oh,
just. let's just
Okay, let's
forego
skip
that.
the package. Let's skip the cabbage, sorry. So I think actually maybe our baklava is almost ready. It is actually, and this is how it looks like. And so we're gonna wait until it cools down and pour some of our maple syrup on top of it. And we're just gonna turn off the oven.
And the fries are still cooking.
I think the fries are good to go too. So now that we can get the fries out. And you can actually dip the fries in the feta cheese or the tahini
That's
or
something.
salsa. I discovered actually salsa that
What
I
is combination? Salsa for sweet potato fries?
Yes, it was so delicious. The other day I baked a sweet potato and I was in that kind of mood, stressed with a lot of homework, I guess. So I baked a sweet potato and then I poured some salsa on it and it was so good. It was this contrast between sweet and sour in a baked potato.
I would never have thought that.
Yeah. So do we have any questions?
Yes, Dina, we have one question. Vivian is asking, how were the sweet potato fries prepared?
So you can go to Routes, you can buy the sweet potato fries bag.
But it took you hours and hours to do these sweet potatoes, didn't it?
It takes a long time
took
to do
her a
it.
long time.
Yeah,
I
they've been
watched
in the
her.
oven.
Yeah.
They've been in the oven for a very long time. It's easier for me to actually
She had the bag of frozen, right?
Yes,
The bag
yes.
of frozen, put it in
right.
the oven, follow directions, like what, 20 minutes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I also would on a regular day maybe use a baked potato much easier than the sweet. It gives me the same taste actually, and probably is much healthier because I'm using the original potato and putting it in the microwave or in the oven.
Now, earlier I was saying how what you're going to make could help reduce stress. Can you go over that again? How doing this can help reduce stress? It's the ingredients or the act of cooking natural foods?
It's
What is it?
knowing that my seasonings are around me and I can use them and you know, like bring life to food, bring
Mhm.
life to a recipe. But you know, with parsley, you talked about it. The second I got it out of the water and started chopping, the fresh smell came out.
Yes, yes, like
Um,
aromatherapy.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like aromatherapy, olive oil and the za'atar, the tahini sauce, knowing that I have access to healthy food and, you know, taking away the need to junk when you need to junk. So this could be my junk food, go to sweet potatoes and I think it's about keeping yourself healthy at a time when you don't have the energy to stay healthy. And yeah, taking that pressure off you, it's nice. And yeah,
I would think that especially at a time like this with the pandemic we've had and people
Mhm.
are shut in, they're working from home or they're job hunting in their home, that this could really be a great distraction. Something that you're doing very good for yourself, for your family. And you can get lost in this. You can get lost in this cooking and creating all these things.
so true. I mean, there's a lot of baking that I saw my friends invest their time in during the pandemic. I frankly, I'm a bit sensitive to wheat and there's a lot of sensitivities food sensitivities that I have. So the only thing that appeared to work for me was having this feel pastry and putting in some apples, you know, like when you buy a packet of apples and so many apples you don't eat every day. You basically have to chop them before they go bad. So I chop the apples and I put it in a filo pastry as a filling and that's it. And it works. So I think, yeah, knowing that you can do things with a two-step recipe and less than an hour and then sit and enjoy or take a break from whatever pressure, whatever source of pressure is around you. It certainly helped me when, like my daughter now is 28, but when I used to work 12 hours a day, this is how I cooked. I would just like go to the grocery store once a week, bring everything to the kitchen and boom into hours, and just like put it in the fridge, and use the cabbage once as a salad, once with the rice, once as a soup, whatever. Once you have it, you know, you can pull it out of the fridge and work with it. And I think we're about ready to celebrate our lentil soup. Do we have any questions?
Any questions out there? I have a question.
Mhm.
So how did you learn to cook like this? Was it watching your family, watching your mom, your parents?
So I never actually cooked anything until I was in my 20s.
Oh, okay.
And that's because my mom liked her kitchen space and would not allow her. That was her place of peace. So
Mhm.
that idea of your kitchen being your place of peace is something I got from my mom. Like she does not like to be distracted when she's cooking, and she would cook everything, but she was not into dessert. Like we never had dessert growing up because my mother was not into baking. But she relied a lot on spices and herbs. She loves spices and herbs, and that's how I got into that. What happened after that is, you know, you get married and your lifestyle changes and you want to experiment with stuff. And I was so much, for the longest time ever, I was into Southern Living magazines. I used to buy them in Cairo. I think Americans who live in Cairo would just sell them as secondhand magazines. And I used to get a lot of the recipes, and I think I fell in love with cinnamon through Southern Living. They use a lot of cinnamon in their recipes. And so you learn to experiment with cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and you bring all these spices and herbs from around the world. And we're very lucky to be living in a place like Boston and you know, have this kind of diversity around us and see what other cultures cook with and experiment. So that's what I do. Me and my husband, we have a very strong passion to cook, eating at home. So we try to experiment with stuff.
And so can you buy all these ingredients, the dates and the other things, these different spices at any supermarket, or do you need to go to a specialty supermarket like in the olden
No,
days?
I
you used to go to
don't.
the specialty supermarkets.
I don't go to specialty supermarkets. I will try to always find like a Middle Eastern supermarket, but if it's too far away, I'm not gonna drive. I will order from Amazon sometimes.
That's an idea. I
And,
hadn't thought of that.
There's actually a great app called SimSim, SIM, that has all kind of Arab recipes. So for Arab women who live abroad and they're like just like second generation who also want to learn more about their home cultures. So I tune in every once in a while. I follow some major chefs and I see that when they cook, so when big chefs, famous chefs cook, they're not cooking and it's not so much about quantity, it's more about the flavor. And they use simple ingredients, and the more famous they are, the more simple you realize they are too, and how they're using ingredients. And so I learned a lot actually following their YouTubes, and have some favorite ones. Mostly and as it so happens, most of them would be from the Middle East.
Okay, SimSim, I'll look for that. Is it
Yeah.
Simsim.com or?
No, it's just like download the app SimSim.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So I think now the lentil soup is about ready, which is very nice. I did not add garlic, but if you did want to chop some garlic in the lentil soup, it's how my mother would have done it. But frankly, I already added a lot of spiced garlic, which just amplified it a little bit more stronger than I would. And then I want to show it in the camera.
That's going to be interesting.
No, I'm gonna pour it in the.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring the camera over to the
Oh,
pot.
no.
And I'll tilt the camera for you as you tilt the bowl.
Right. And here is the lentil soup. It's pretty thick,
Come this
so
way,
I
come
didn't
this way
even
more.
add any potatoes, but it is already very thick because I just left it for like 30 minutes. And you could again add some scallions or some parsley on the top. and it'll be very delicious. I'm happy to take any more questions. Yeah. That would be my lentil soup.
So this, is this the second course or the third? I'm losing track now.
No, I think, well, we promised 3-course meals, but you can eat it in the order, in any order, or you can eat one of them.
Well, I
You
have my
don't have-
baklava at the end.
Right, you don't have to, you don't have to eat it all in the same day, but I was just trying to bring in everything that makes me comfortable in a spirit of mental wellness and share it. So feta cheese is a big thing for me. When I'm stressed, I go to feta cheese. Lentil soup is very comforting with this connection I have with my family in Egypt. And the cabbage is always associated with a health banner in my head. And I do love the scallions. And the sweet potato fries are my fast food when I want to feel healthy. And that's about it. And then the chocolate dessert, which I experimented with.
Now, I did want to ask you about the turmeric, because I've been reading a lot about how turmeric has all these health benefits. And I'm just wondering if is that true to your knowledge, that turmeric is something we should gravitate toward if you want to have additional health benefits? Is that
Well,
just
I'm
media?
not a professional dietitian that way, but I know all my Indian friends will swear by turmeric and its anti-inflammatory properties.
I see. Yeah, that's what I've been reading
Yes.
about.
So
Okay.
I heard that from my Indian friends. It's part of their culture. They use turmeric. If they have arthritis, then I know someone, a friend of mine, her father would actually add turmeric to his milk every night before he goes to bed. But I personally like it in food because I just like it.
Yeah, I have some at home, but as I said, I just pour things when the recipe calls for it. So I have no idea how it even tastes.
Right. And in case you're wondering about the potato fries, the sweet potato
Can we
fries.
have some salt or seasoning for that?
Yes, we did. We did promise that we would add some salt and pepper. Actually, and the za'atar. Where did we put the za'atar?
It's right here.
There you go. Yes, that's what I promised, the za'atar fry. It's that simple, actually. It's not even a recipe. You just sprinkle the za'atar on it. And it just wakes it up, you know. It's such a strong smell that, yeah. I'll enjoy one. So good.
That is a very nice flavor.
Thank you. So we have 6 more minutes. I'm happy to take any questions or comments or suggestions.
I can't read that. Do you see what that says?
Yes, turmeric has anti-inflammatory properties.
Yes,
Yes.
as you were saying.
All right, just a reminder that we have the poll also, if no one has questions.
Okay.
There's
We
a
do
question.
have one question in the chat. Vivian is wondering, where do you buy your feta cheese?
So I buy my feta cheese I buy the brand. So usually Trader Joe's will have it, Whole Foods will have it, Wegmans and Costco will also have it. There is this brand that serves, I think, 16 servings. It's for $7 and it's $3.65. That's the brand. That's the closest feta cheese to the feta cheese we have at home in Egypt.
That's Whole Foods, right?
It's Whole Foods and it's also Wegmans and
Okay.
I find it in Target as well. So that's the feta cheese I use. Costco has another one that is also from Israel, which is the same quality. So it's either the Costco one or this one. But my promise for the meal to be less than $10 still stands because whatever we cook today is like for 16 people. So.
So I guess we're ready for the poll at this point.
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and launch the poll now. I'm gonna give people a minute or so.
I sure hope this was helpful. I know we had some difficulty with the sound quality at one point, but I hope whoever is attending has enjoyed listening to my favorite recipes, and I look forward to learning more about your favorite recipes. So the two-step cooking process is basically what we just demonstrated, like with the cabbage. You basically saute the cabbage, you chop the cabbage and you saute the cabbage. That's basically 2 steps. It's not a, what do you call it? A peer-reviewed methodology in any way, but it's
Not a
just,
formal process.
right,
just-
right. It just makes life easier to know that you're about to cook and you're gonna only have 2 steps to manage.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna end the poll now. And I'm gonna share the results. Dina, can you see the results there?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
yeah, if you wanna go through them.
Okay, so true or false, frozen fruits and vegetables are not as healthy as fresh fruits and vegetables. It's false. Everybody answered false. The 2-step cooking process can be applied to different types of cooking: baked, stove, air fryers. True. And true or false, you can prepare a baked dessert in 2 steps. True. Which cooking strategy is least supportive of your mental health and physical health? Grilling and deep frying. True. I would have added more. And what is an unconventional way to use mint, stews, and sauteed vegetables? All of the above. We've had split answers, 50-50. And it is all of the above. You can actually use mint in salads. You can use it in lemon juice and sauces. We just demonstrated the use of mint in the cheese dip, and also I forgot to show you my lemon juice with mint. So.
Which I've been sipping on. Very nice.
So thank you, everyone. And I hope you enjoy your day and cook some of those recipes over the coming weekend.
And nice being your sous chef. I've enjoyed it. Let's do this again sometime.
You've been so much fun.
Wonderful food. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for being here with us.
Bye.
All right, thank you. This was
Thanks.
great. Mhm. Bye.
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 Mhm.